When looking for a coach to lead your college basketball program, what qualities do you look for? Now, of course, this is very subjective, but do you look for one that puts his aspirations above everything else, who puts winning at the forefront, no matter what? Or do you look for a man that you can not only call coach, but you can also call him a role model? One that'll care for his players on and off the court. One that'll preach the importance of academics and leadership. One that'll ask for nothing less than 110% out of his players and will challenge them physically and mentally, but at the same time will always be there for his players, as if his players were his own flesh and blood. This is the journey of Ken Carter beyond Richmond High School and the success and the foundation that he laid there. We'll see if he can take his foundation and put his leadership, usefulness, and most importantly, respect and success to work at the next level. With the most recent college basketball season wrapping up, the word got out pretty fast that Ken Carter was looking for a new job at the next level. Schools from all over are already offering him contracts. The ones that stand out though are, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Texas Southern, Texas State, schools that they've tasted success in the past, but their success has either plateaued or just completely fallen off a cliff. But one that Coach Carter has his eyes on is Tennessee Martin, a school that, looking at their history and their record, has not even come close to success. The basketball program has only seen 5 winning seasons and 26 total at the D1 level, and has never won the conference championship, and thus has never made the NCAA tournament. Coach Carter will try to step in and change this though, as he sees that this is a big rebuild that will take possibly a few seasons to get anywhere with, but he's ready for the journey, he's ready for the battle. And maybe that's the reason why Coach Carter has scheduled potentially 2 top 25 opponents on the schedule in Connecticut and Tennessee. But moving on, it's time that we look at Coach Carter and his journey up to Chicago, Illinois, the Windy City, to get an early jump on his recruiting as he follows an AAU tournament here at Loyola Chicago University. And coincidentally, all top 3 of Coach Carter's recruits right now are taking place in this tournament. First one being power forward PJ Chapman. Here's a quick little highlight reel of what Coach Carter saw this weekend. If Coach Carter can sell the university enough and get PJ Chapman to commit, then he'll definitely have a field day with developing his game, because Chapman is very versatile. He likes to see guys succeed just as much as he likes to see himself succeed. He's got great vision as a power forward, good passer. He's a good rebounder. He needs to work on his offensive rebounding a little bit. He's better on the defensive glass, but he's got definitely an all-around game. He's got a good touch into the basket. He's a good finisher, but he also can step out and hit that 15-foot jump shot. He will need to add muscle at the next level to succeed, however, because he's 6'10", but he's got kind of a small frame, kind of lanky. He's only around 213, so he'll have to get stronger. Right now, Coach Carter's best player is a power forward on the roster who's a senior who's going to be graduating this year, so definitely going to have to look for a replacement for him. Chapman could be the replacement that he's looking for in a few years. I don't think he's ready to step into the limelight and be a star in his freshman year, but in a few years, he could definitely be something special. Second on the recruiting board is Judd Baldwin, who is an interesting blend between athleticism and scoring. He'll give you buckets for days, but at the same time, he can fly too. He's got good wheels. He likes to run in transition, but he can get his shot up. Moving without the ball, and he can also put the ball on the floor and score that way as well. On the defensive side, he's got a little bit, more to be desired, but at the same time, his athleticism does make up for it in some ways. Another nice shot right there. He's got a really nice form for such a young player, and there he is showcasing his moves a little bit with the ball on the floor, and this one's just dirty. Yeah, showing off his range there at the end of the half. Definitely an intriguing prospect to keep an eye on. Now, one of our weaknesses as a team is our size and our rebounding, but if we can land 2-star Drake McMillan, that could definitely be a big help in that department. Like most young big men that are around the 7-foot threshold, he's got some work to do in terms of polishing up his game a little bit. He's still very raw. He's still working out some of the kinks, of his game. But he does have the potential to be a solid finisher under the basket at the next level. But there is a pretty big caveat to go along with him, though. He didn't start most of the games at the AAU this year. He came off the bench for a lot of them, but one that we did see, he looked very impressive whenever he did get the start, 17 and 5 with a block. So that's the only risk that runs with trying to get him on the team. Shifting gears here, we'll look at some of the recruiting battles. Right now we're 4th for PJ Chapman, who averaged 12.5 and 9 rebounds at the AAU level this year. Judd Baldwin being pursued by 2 Missouri Valley Conference rivals in Indiana State and Illinois State. He averaged 11 and pulled down 5 rebounds this year. We're currently the only ones going after McMillan right now, but looking at his stats, some teams might be scared off, but he only did start a handful of games. He only played 7 minutes a game, and the games that he did start, he looked very promising. Now, we do have 2 wild cards here at the end of the list. We have Reggie Harrison, who did not play AAU this year. We're currently 9th going after him, so we got some work to do there. And Luke Lawton from New Zealand. Coach Carter will have to request some game tape to see what those guys can truly do. Now, shifting our focus to the season kickoff scrimmage, or Midnight Madness. What is Midnight Madness, you might ask? Well, whenever the clock strikes midnight to turn the day to October 22nd, that's when teams can finally start, their preseason practices. So teams like to celebrate by doing a scrimmage. We like to pit the starters against the reserves. The starters will be in the white home uniforms, while the reserves will rock the navy blues. Nice little way to have some fun before the season starts. And as a bonus, we will also be able to meet the team. Let's go down to the Skyhawk Arena for our Midnight Madness scrimmage. The student section very excited to get this season of Skyhawk basketball underway. It's the starters in white, reserves in navy, as AJ Sullivan wins the tip-off. And the starters bring up the ball. Here's junior point guard D. Cartwright sizing up. Dwight Easley, the backup power forward, gets a screen at the elbow, pops the 15-footer, and that's good to begin the game. Cartwright, a junior point guard, has a nice offensive game to him. He's got a quick first step and a solid mid-range jump shot to boot. He's quick and has good blow-by ability with the ball in his hands. There he is hitting another mid-range jump shot. Needs to become a little bit more of a playmaker, but other than that, a very solid point guard. Now here's AJ Sullivan with a nice rejection. He's a decent rim protector for his size. He only stands at 6'6", but it is not set in stone that he's going to be the starting center to begin the year, because we will bring up another player later on who will be competing for minutes at that 5 position. But in the meantime, here's Shaquille Hammond, a guy who will most likely be our leading scorer this year. Shaquille Hammond has everything you'd want in a player. He can step out and hit the 3. He draws fouls. He's good for mid-range. He has some nice post moves in his arsenal as well. Now here is Davion Baez, backup small forward, and backup shooting guard, but he will also be competing for minutes with another guy who will be discussed later. He's got a nice little jump shot, and he's got good mechanics for a guy his age. Now here is David Giles from mid-range. A nice pass from the top of the key. If he can develop his defense a little bit, he'll definitely be a very solid two-way player this year and next year, in his senior year. He does take some plays off, though, on defense, and that's very concerning, but Coach Carter will definitely not tolerate that. Now, here is the guy who will be competing with Sullivan at that center position, as he shows some nice moves with the ball in his hands. Put the ball on the floor and drives. Floyd Zoubek, who is originally from Serbia. He has a similar play style to AJ Sullivan, the biggest difference being that he's 2 inches taller, which helps on the rebounding, which, let's be frank, AJ Sullivan does struggle with. That's probably the biggest concern to his game. But here's Gene Schofield, the freshman power forward, a guy to watch, a sleeper guy to watch. If he can develop his offensive game and step out a little bit from under the hoop and score from maybe mid-range, 15 feet extended, he's definitely going to find himself getting a lot of minutes. Now here's our backup point guard, Dwight Easley, as the Navy team does a very good job running the floor, as they've been doing a very solid job of competing with the starters. Dwight Easley is more of a pass-first point guard than D. Cartwright. He likes to find his teammates a little bit more and has better vision. But we are very excited for him. After Cartwright graduates, he will most likely take over at the starting point guard position, as he kicks it out to Marcus Saunders, the highest rated freshman on the team. He's going to get minutes at the backup 2 guard, but we're very excited for him because he can hit the 3, he can hit the mid, but he's more of a slasher. He's got good foot speed too, as showcased right there as the Navy team runs the floor again and ties up the game. We are early on in the second half, and this bench team really has showcased some fight. Here comes D. Cartwright, who gives it up to Blair Renfroe, who's going to be competing with Davion Baez for minutes at that backup small forward position. Renfroe, a 6'2 sophomore from Kansas. The only thing that you need to know about his game is that he's a 3-point specialist. That's the biggest reason why he's going to find himself getting some minutes this season. A nice little move in the post by Shaquille Hammond. I'm telling you, he really does it all, giving the starters back the lead. That was Joey Ballard trying his luck in the post. Nice little dish inside. Foul on Floyd Zoubek. Ballard is a lanky 6'7 small forward who has a very intriguing game. He's more of a defender, but he has shown some flashes on offense. He's got a decent slashing game to him. He can't really shoot that well just yet, but an intriguing player to watch. Dwight Easley brings it out, and a nice little dish in this inside to Gene Schofield. Dwight Easley is definitely a complete 180 from D. Cartwright. There's another shot by Cartwright. Cartwright's more of a combo guard. And Easley's more of a pass-first guy. A nice little finish by him right there, though, showcasing some of his athleticism there, driving to the rim, getting a quick basket to answer back. The bench is definitely keeping pace so far with the starters, as that's a nice little finish by Joey Ballard, showing us that he can slash a little bit as well. He's not just a defensive special. The starter is led by 2 at this point, as Marcus Saunders freezes Giles with a beautiful hesitation move. Now here's Floyd Zoubek with the turnaround attempt. That is rejected by A.J. Sullivan, who has 3 blocks at this point. Marcus Saunders with a foot on the line. That ties it up. The starters have struggled to find any breathing room from the bench squad. But coming right back at the bench unit is Shaquille Hammond and the starters. 2-point lead as Shaquille Hammond, a beautiful spin move around Schofield, cannot finish but cleans up the mess by giving it to Javid Giles on the perimeter, who does not miss on that opportunity. And this is where the bench squad started to fall behind and couldn't keep pace. I mean, when you have Joey Ballard, who is not a 3-point shooter, hitting 30-foot bombs on you, it's definitely tough to compete. But that's when they definitely started to pull away and the momentum shifted. At the end of the day, the starters won the battle by 5 points. A very excited group of guys this team has, as they've been dying for a coaching change. As success has been elusive in years past, they are coming off an 8-23 season, but the fans, the coaching staff, the players, they're all very excited to get this season underway. Leading all scorers was Shaquille Hammond with 12, and Schofield also added 12, with Marcus Saunders adding 11. Preseason festivities are wrapping up, and we are going to play our preseason tournament hosted by the University of Connecticut. And of course, we also have the luxury of playing them for the first game of the season. Now, Connecticut is not ranked right now, but they might as well be. They have an interesting blend of speed and defense that'll be very tough to handle. They like to run this full court press. So we all know Coach Carter will definitely be stressing ball security in this first game. It's going to be tough because we don't have too many ball handlers on the team, other than, Cartwright a little bit, and Dwight Easley, maybe Marcus Saunders. Ball handling is definitely going to be a problem. But knowing Coach Carter, he'll at least be pumping his guys up to compete. Should be a interesting matchup. Definitely a tough test. We'll see you next time when we take on the University of Connecticut to begin our year.